Okay, so for this film, it's Saltwater, The Battle for Ramree Island. It's an action horror sci-fi, I wouldn't call it a sci-fi film, rated 16 plus in Amazon. Came out in 2021. It's an hour and 22 minutes. Amazon have a rating of 3 out of 5, IMDb 2.6 out of 10. So the Amazon synopsis is: a band of soldiers in search of a secret Japanese ammunition store faced off against deadly saltwater crocodiles in the swamps of Ramree Island, inspired by actual events during World War II. So the director is Steve Lawson, and he was in Hellraiser. Riser, not Razor. The producer, we have Steve Beecham, who was in Alcatraz, who produced Alcatraz, and Tony Taglienti, Taglienti, and he also produced Alcatraz. Music was done by Matt Jansen, I think that's how you say his name, Jantzen, who composed for Movie 43. Now the cast, there's not many in there. We have Stephen Dalton, Dolton, who was Sergeant Turner, and he was also in Hellraiser. So the Steve Lawson directed it, and Stephen Dalton was in it. Ryan Harvey was Pike, and he was in a short little clip called Stairwell. Glenn Salvage was Harris, and he was in Left 4 Dead. And Jas Singh, Jas Singh, Singh, was Singh, and he was in Unholy, and that's the images there you can see on this the picture there. So the location of it all is actually, it doesn't say on the website, but it's actually in Hinckley and Leicestershire in the UK. So if you want to know where it's actually filmed, that's where it was. Now it starts off with a massive moon over the jungle, right? And this guy is desperate for smoke as attacked by a crocodile. You can't see much; it's too dark. It's a typical film. Anyway, that's before the credits appear, so you kind of know, yeah, there's crocodiles. You don't see any crocodiles, but then they show you real footage of paratroopers jumping from a plane. I'm assuming during World War II. I don't know. Music's quite good. Seems like our 4 dudes are on a special mission. They just don't know what the mission is. Obviously, the main guy does. The Sarge is a bit like he's from a business. Doesn't feel like a soldier. It feels a bit like, okay, guys, now. And it doesn't speak like an it doesn't speak like an army guy. So, for example, he might say this: well, if someone gonna cook these baked beans, I'm bloody starving. They're out in the middle of the nowhere, you know. Awesome dialogue. And if they were in any war, God help us, would have lost years ago. Well, obviously, you know. So I can understand the low ratings sometimes. So far, we have a Sarge that sounds like he's in the wrong film. Right? He's got no grit. He's got nothing. He's just a bit whiffy, you know, a bit. Well, it feels like he works in a business. I'm not saying anything about people who work in business, but it is that kind of thing. It doesn't sound like somebody who's worked his way up to the ranks of a soldier, you know what I mean? At least I don't know what they sound like. Private Pike, yeah, like Dad's Army. If you don't know Dad's Army, look it up. So he's hapless. He's got a camera. He doesn't seem to know what he's doing. Harris seems like he's a real soldier. And Singh keeps stroking his beard like he's deep in thought all the time. You know, like you kind of you stroke your beard or you stroke your chin like, yes, and he keeps doing it all the time. It's not like he's like thinking then he's going to speak. He just, every time the camera pans to him, he's just stroking his beard. So they're standing around in a bit of water, having this heart-to-heart, as they keep doing. And Harris knocked the compass from Sarge into the water. And I was like, okay, fine, you can use the other compass, can't you? No, they only had one. I thought, Don't all army soldiers, again, I don't know, don't they have these things like compasses? All of them? I'm assuming they would do, because what happens if they got separated? So we don't see the crocodile yet. It's just some growling and some bubbles under the water. You can see that in the trailer when you see it, and you see these bubbles. That's what we keep seeing all the time. Well, hearing. We hear it's like, oh, what the hell? So we finally see the crocodile in the water. And then someone had their leg bitten as they're being dragged. You couldn't make out the head of the crocodile, just kind of like a bit of teeth. And you were assuming that it was being dragged, but it still looked okay. It wasn't top notch or anything. It's a good thing that these Japanese on these islands, there's apparently 300 of them, are all completely deaf. So these guys keep having these long, loud discussions. They're either having these heart-to-heart or arguments. So arguments, you can imagine what they're like. They're just kicking off, and moaning and complaining. And then they have these heart-to-heart like, well, when I was a young lad, I remember my mum was doing this, that and the other, and, you know, I cast my mind back and, you know, making, I don't know, say for example, making cakes on a breadened surface. Oh, really? And you have this music in the background. It's like, my God. And this could last for about like 5 minutes. And they go, right, okay, let's get up, guys, let's move. And then they ask something else. Sing asks Harry something, and then he harps on. Oh, well, yeah, sorry, I got mixed up. It all happened in the Great War. It's like, oh my God, not another one. So the Indian, because that's what I was scribbling down, I don't know his name, the Singh, is very intelligent, but Harris isn't. He's a bit of a duh. So Singh says, when we go into the water, this is a famous quote, I always find these in these films. You don't find them in like AAA titles, we find them in these kind of films. So Singh says, when we go into the water, we attract their attention, and then we come running back to the land for safety. What if they decide to follow us? And Harry says, can they do that? And he replies, they're not like fish, sir, they have legs. It's just like that. I had to stop and I thought, my God, that made me chuckle something chronic. The music's decent. You know, it's when it's action and when it's sad, it changes. It's not the same sort of crappy music all the way through. It has different tones. Now, I actually only saw 2 Japanese guys, right? And if you look at IMDb, you actually only find the naming of one of them. And it was David Honmachu, Honmachu. The other guy's not there. There was 2 of them, so I don't know where the other one is. But apparently he's not listed for some reason. Like I say, our Intrepid 4, they were lucky they never got found as they were yelling or in heated discussions or long stories against a nice load of yelling and screaming and anyway, it was an interesting ending. Music was good. I can understand the low rating. You know, it was just tiring in some parts. I mean, not the acting. Well, yeah, the acting, I suppose. But this bit, the fact that they were on the. Oh, and yeah, you know, it's based on actual events. This isn't. I mean, yes, it was. I think in World War II, on the Japanese islands, I think there was like 1,000 or 2,000 Japanese soldiers lost their lives to crocodiles. So that part is true, but not this bit. It just, you know, it's like based on a true story. They breathed. Perfect. Yes. They lived on an island. Yeah, perfect. So there we go. What will I give it? What was it? A 2.6. I actually only give it a 2. It just didn't grab me at all. For me, except that funny quote. But yeah, it was just a bit. Nah. Okay, so there we go. On to the next.